whole objective of this podcast is to not take anything serious. Like, this industry is amazing, and I get to sit down with some of the most powerful leaders in this space. And they've sat with me in these podcasts, and I've literally been educated like you can never imagine. Like, the stuff that these people help me understand is profound, right? It's better than a classroom. But it's also pretty serious shit. You know, a lot of people are on here talking about how they're reinventing themselves or reestablishing their careers. And I think that's important. But I think we're missing an element of this industry that really drives all of us to it. And that is the circus of this industry, because it's the wild, wild west, right? And like, I want you guys to share stories. And the intent of this podcast is to I'm going to continuously invite a wide range of my friends to this podcast and try to have a large, 3, 4, 5 people, and just a shoot the shit session talking about the craziest things that we've seen in this industry. Because in addition to like listening to the Chris Crosbys of the world, inspire us, or Alfonso Portillo inspire us on the stories that they are, how they got to where they're at. Those things are amazing. And I need a steady diet of that healthy shit too. But sometimes it's the dumbest things that we do that really make this the most fun, right? So who wants to go first with their craziest story? You want to go with one of your first ones coming into space?
One of my first ones?
Yeah, I mean, like,
all right.
Yeah, what's one of your funniest think about it from the context of, if you were listening to this back when you were a bullet sponge in the Army stationed in Washington.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not sure which industry I'm going to go in. Would this be one that you'd still want to be in?
All right. No, I got one for sure that made me realize I definitely wanted to be in this industry. Like, coming from the military like that, having the camaraderie and all that, you look for that again in your career. And I can remember I'm, superintendent, pretty new, out in Santa Clara on a Vantage site.
I think the word that we were using was useless, not new.
Basically.
Right.
Basically.
Like tits on a bowl.
Yeah. This is also after this is all within like a 2-week span, right? Kirk comes out. I've never met him in person, just on, video call and whatnot. And he shows up and he goes, "Hey man, I'm Kirk." I'm like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" He's like, "Hey, I'm going to fire your uncle today. Is that going to be a problem?"
That's the first time I met him. "Hey bro, nice to meet you. How's it working out? Is it all working good? I'm going to go in that trailer and your uncle's going to get sacked. Are we going to be good?" Because he's a big boy too. I don't need to get shit on from him, right? He's been killing people for a living. So I'm like, are we going to be all right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
you went out with us that night too.
Oh yeah. 100%. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like,
we have respect for his uncle. I was doing that.
100%.
I was doing that out of respect for his uncle. I was trying to help his uncle out of a bad situation.
100%. My uncle got me into this industry, but long story short, I'm like, yep, cool. We go out that night. It's the first night like I'm ever going out with any of them.
Okay. Who all went out with us? Yeah, maybe not name drop so much.
I don't know if I'm going to name drop a lot. I will tell you, JT was there.
Usual suspects, though.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But long story short, we all go out shortly into the night, like not that long into the night. We're just walking down the street and there's a potted plant.
Hold on. Is this the night that we went to the speakeasy and got kicked out?
Yeah. But This is after leaving the speakeasy, which was honestly pretty early in the night.
That's why I'm like, have you heard these stories? Mm-mm. It'll be your turn, Seth.
Long story short, somebody grabs this potted plant and a friend of ours just smokes him in the back of the head with this potted plant. Dirt goes
like a street plant, like decoration the city left out in Santa Clara or something. Hits him in the head with it.
Yeah.
Did it kill him? Did he die?
No.
Just breaks it.
The guy. It wasn't like the pot itself. It was just like the dirt mound. You know what I mean? From like the bulb of the plant.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
He wasn't drunk enough to get the whole pot.
Got it.
Well, it was one. I'm pretty sure it was one of those ones that's like cemented to the ground.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
And I mean,
I was there, but I don't remember.
JT's the one that grabbed the plant. You know what I mean? So
I did not see that.
He's not going to lift up the cement part. You know what I mean? Long story short, we still go out. Everybody keeps partying. We get into an Uber, okay? And they're like, "Let's go to the casino." We go to the casino. We get there in the Uber. I'm the only person that's still awake.
We're all passed
in this Uber. They're all just like straight dead to the world, everything like that. The Uber driver looks at me. He's like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Let's just go back." I take us all back to the hotel. We get there. They wake up. They're like, how'd we do? I'm like, y'all did great. Let's go. Let's get out of here. I still had to be at work at 5:30 in the morning. You know what I mean?
Oh, stop. You never made 5:30 mornings. Tiffany, how long you been in this industry?
I've
First of
been-
all,
Yeah.
introduce yourself so people know who you are.
Oh, yeah, sure. My name is Jesse Sargent. I'm the president of delivery at Overwatch. So happy to be here.
What about you, ma'am?
And co-founder.
And
Oh, yeah,
co-founder.
you're a co-founder.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal.
It's
He's like
a
the Ron
real big
Burgundy of
deal.
Overwatch.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
Smells like rich mahogany.
No,
you know?
for sure. Leather-bound books and everything. You're
I
all
think you're
about
gonna
it.
have to work on that mustache a little bit, though.
Oh, the mustache. Yeah, you got to get that going.
Yeah.
And I think your story is pretty funny how we met. You just shot me a Hail Mary email. Well, I mean, we've talked.
Yeah.
We've met before.
Mhm.
But I think you were watching us do something and you're like, hey, you guys need some help. I could help you. Right?
Actually, I think it was when we were on a couple calls for DCAC, I think it was for, and you kind of I saw you watching me like I was
uncomfortably, like a piece of meat.
and just studying me. And she was like, that's someone.
No,
You're a
I was
specimen.
honestly
Joe.
trying to figure out if that was actually Joe Rogan or not.
It's Joe Rogan's
Like,
older
I didn't know
brother.
if that was actually Joe Rogan. I was
He's
like,
what
is that
you
Joe
look like
Rogan?
if you ate
I
Joe
don't know.
Rogan and then worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James
Turns out
Rogan.
It is Joe Rogan.
Joey P. Chicago Joey.
Joey P.
Joey P. Rogan.
Mhm.
So, but he dabbles in the silk. So,
A little bit.
what's your website, by the way, if anyone wants to?
JosephPinzon.com.
And you were a professional silk dancer for a while.
I was. I dabbled. I mean, not as much of a deal as I wanted to because I lost a little flexibility with the girth. But
I got you.
I mean, literally. I mean, I could really
You can get up there.
go to my website, check it out.
So, Tiffany, explain who you are and how you've come to us, and what's it like, and what's your story so far?
Yeah, so I'm Tiffany Kowaleski, and I've been in the industry for 7 months, and I found it through a friend and stumbled upon it. I came across it because I was in the military veteran community as a civilian for over the last decade, and it just was kind of this great fit, mission critical space to another mission critical space, and I was like, yeah, I like it. These people are fun, and it's a wild, wild west. Working for a 3-letter agency, you're pretty handcuffed on what you can and can't do. But I also like the seriousness that it brings and the importance of it. But lacking a little bit of the purpose for me. So, I mean, it's not a sexy, glamorous industry. It's like data centers. So where am I going to find that purpose? And I saw that with Overwatch, but I also saw kind of a little bit of a mess too. Like, what's going on? You
She's
know,
on
I
to
mean,
us.
like,
Hey, why are you looking at Scotty when you say mess? Why are you looking at him when you say it? It's not his fault. I mean, it is his fault.
I mean, I think you could probably roll it back, and you definitely didn't see my head go that way at all. Scotty, you got it going on. Like, you're all good.
It's the shirt. That's why. Look
It's
at
the
the
double
double
deuce.
The double deuce.
The double deuce.
Mine's dirty. Otherwise, I would have worn it. That was fun.
So you, we just collected you, and then in your first 7 years of being in the industry, what was it like sitting with our group this week? Because we had you sitting with us in some of our strategic meetings as a guest, right?
Yeah. So, you guys are all crazy, and so birds of a feather flock together, I guess. So, what does that say about me?
Sure.
But I flew in a plane and landed with some dude with long curly hair named Vance.
Oh
who
yeah.
got out of a black Escalade and gave me a hug and put me in this vehicle. And I went out to this ranch and I just was baptized by full submersion all week long and was like, you know
think
what?
Vance is a better looking human being than even Sporty Spice over here? Vance is like class of 92 West. He's what a poster child for the Army SF looks
Are
like.
you talking about Vance,
The
aka
Vance.
Roadhouse.
aka
He's
Garrett?
Sam Elliott. Yeah,
Sam Elliott?
he's Sam Elliott from the Roadhouse is what he is. That's his call sign. It should be, don't you think?
But
I
just
agree.
But just built like a brick shit house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he may even be tougher
He
than
is.
Scotty now. I'm not saying he is.
I don't know.
There's only one Scotty.
I can neither confirm or deny that, Scotty.
But Vance,
Then I walked
Vance
into
is
like
strapping.
a Kool-Aid shop, right? I mean, there's
The
like,
Kool-Aid shop.
I
you
mean,
call it.
they're like mixing the powder and the
But did you drink
water
it?
and like it was like, oh shit, yeah, I'm used to like mixing Kool-Aid. Like, let's do this. Let's drink some. So, it was an interesting dynamic, but
Yeah, you came to the compound and watched us
came.
tear each other apart for a few days. That's
Yeah,
how it works.
it was awesome. I must say, I enjoyed the cult.
cult. You say that as though you have any cult background.
For sure. This isn't my first rodeo.
Let's hear it. I want to hear about this.
Well, you see, when you're raised as a Jehovah's Witness, or what we call J-Dub,
J-Dub.
I mean, I was knocking on doors ever since I was a little girl. So coming out with baseball bats, no big thing. Right?
Rejection's no
So
problem.
the real question is, are we in heaven on earth?
Let's talk about this.
Ooh.
It's a lot to unpackage.
Mm.
That almost needs to be a PM podcast.
So we're literally going to get into the resurrection of the paradise on earth. You want to do the 144,000, you want to get into that.
Well, I want to understand. I know you were a kid when you took on this endeavor, so you really didn't have a choice. But at some point, you were like, "That's crazy, Pill." Tell me at the point when you figured out that this is not heaven. Or maybe you still think it's heaven. I don't know.
I mean, do we want to go to therapy and talk about
No.
Let's let it all out.
I have the real question. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
It has to be hard to get people to join because, like, if somebody came in, they were like, "Hey, top 144,000," I'd be like, "Well, I'm fucking out." You know what I mean? Like, I ain't making the top
They're
144,000.
the chosen.
What is it?
The chosen.
That's what I'm saying.
AW, only 144,000 people get chosen?
Do you
Go
understand
to
that? Like,
heaven.
I'm out. I don't think I would make
you know
that.
what?
But then the
I'm
rest are-
already out. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Why bother?
So they need to touch a lot
No
of people to
motivation
find
there.
144. Meaning you just don't go into a town.
How many
and
people
find your
have you
first
touched, Joey,
144
before you?
Yeah, how many? You got to touch a lot of people.
Joey's touched 144 people.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Who are you? What's your story?
So, but
Introduce
so
yourself.
going back to this, I think we have a service to provide to this organization. Have you guys seen their marketing material? It's like a pamphlet that was
the JW?
created by a child with a crayon in 1972 that I think the version on the back of it says 1972.
They are pretty creepy.
Right? I
There's
mean,
like-
let's change
You run a whole branding and marketing business.
I
don't you?
think
do.
I
You
think
should-
I can create. I think I can go
What's
to
your
them and
website
say,
again?
forget 144. Let's go to 288. I doubled
That's
it.
what I'm- That's what I'm talking
"Oh
about.
yeah, bro." Immediately, you're at least doubling your base.
And all
You
we
know
have
what
to
I
do
mean?
is
Like,
update the brochure in Canva.
So let's talk. Introduce yourself. Are you in a cult, by the way, or have you been in?
I'm not in a cult. I'm an independent person.
Lame.
I was part of the Catholic organization for a while until they made me swim naked, which is a completely true story. We can
You
get
didn't
into
have
that.
to.
We
You
can
got
get
to.
we can get into that at a different time. But it wasn't my fault. They issued us swim trunks
In high school?
in high school my sophomore year because I played baseball in Florida my freshman year away from my family. So I was like, let's go ahead and I had to move back because I was failing. So I went to St. Pat's High School in Chicago, all boys school. That's not creepy. But the fact is they issued.
Were you on the swim team?
Well, no, they had a swim class.
You look like you
Oh,
did
okay.
swim.
One of your PE classes was swimming, which was indoor, very like musky and humid environment because it's like Chicago and it's like 20 degrees outside and you're swimming.
Ugh.
And they gave me these green shamrock swim trunks that I looked like Greg Louganis in. They were not figure flattering at all. There's no design to them. Everyone
any
was
pictures
built
of
the
this?
same way.
I'm gonna have to.
It's in my mind right now.
It-
I don't think I
right?
could
Like,
take
if
it.
you
word-
could screenshot that, like-
Exactly. I mean, so it looked like
Is this
it
before your
actually. They
bodybuilding
looked like
days?
when I first saw them. My dad used to buy his underwear in a tube, like 6 underwear would fit in a very skinny tube because he's very
Hanes.
Mediterranean. You know what I'm talking about? The tube
Puerto Rican.
underwear. So the point being is I put them on. I walk out to a roll call of naked boys, and I'm the only one with swim trunks. First of all, I think they were mind fucking with me for the fact that why would you issue me the swim trunks? Surely I'm not going to walk out there naked if I have this item, right? So I was told to take them off, and everything was great until we had to swim backstroke. So front stroke is great. but
Like, I
that's
don't even know where he
so-
comes.
You can never tell if he's serious.
Just
but back to
like
in the Navy, it was
I've
like
stopped at
periscope.
the
What do they
picture.
call it? Periscope up? What is the
Yeah, that's it. Periscope up.
periscope up? We were all periscope up, and then
It was
this-
Father Sandusky.
and then the second
You go
half
to
of the,
school in
of the
Penn State?
class, we played water polo, and there's no way you can keep that person away
Water
without
polo.
touching them
Oh, for
with
sure.
your bottom area. So the point being is, I was part of a cult in the sense that I was forced to do things. And there is a class action suit against the Catholic Church right now and the public school system, because the public school system apparently did this too in Chicago. This was anyone. I'm representing Ballard and Ballard with the with the class action suit of, if you were the ages of 51 to 65 and had to swim naked in Chicago, please call our offices. But there really is a lawsuit.
What did the synchronized swimming team look like?
We did not have that. But we did offer for that, because the scissor technique when you're out of the water is always a good.
I love this podcast already. I like where it's going. So here's the deal. On you two both, you have 7 months experience in the industry, and you have how many? You've been with us for
7 months. What are we in September?
Yeah, so
what's
almost a year.
that, the 9th month, a year, 9 months.
So 9 and 7. So I went to public school too. I mean, not like Ohio public school where they probably
I don't have enough fingers to get to 12.
Right.
So,
But that's how many years you got? 10. All right. So you guys got about a year and a half on that side. We got about 20 to 30 on this side. But on the mission critical side, you're former Army. You've supported military. You ran a big thing for did you help establish the Medal of Honor Memorial for the state of Minnesota?
Yeah, it's our 1-year anniversary event tomorrow, so I'm flying back. I have a full day, whole family, a whole Capitol Mall at the state of Minnesota is going to be packed with our 1-year anniversary. So we got a memorial built
That's
there
pretty
for all
awesome.
the Medal of Honor recipients from Minnesota.
Well, Jesse's about ready to have a hot date with the Medal of Honor recipient here coming up in November. What's that look like?
not good for me. You know what I'm saying? Not too good for me.
It's going to be hilarious for us.
It's gonna
We're
be
going to
so
watch this thing.
I just got to start prepping now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think
Hey.
that there's not enough Jesus
Hey.
you can put in your system between now and then to be ready for what Dakota's going to do to you.
This is what I'll say. I've been up 3 days in a row.
Yeah, but you didn't walk today.
I still sat in the sauna with you.
So listen, we have an Own the Dash challenge that we're going to be pumping Jesse into. We'll talk about that a lot more in the next 8 to 10 weeks, but we'll use that as the genesis for the New Year's resolution that we're doing for the Own the Dash and Honor the Oath campaigns that are coming. But
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I didn't know how deep I could go into it or what, but once in a lifetime opportunity, you know, to
what are you doing? Just paint with a broad stroke for you're going to spend.
Yeah, I'm going to spend 30 days, you know, obviously training with one of the baddest humans on earth and working on my nutrition and my mental mindset. And
Are you going to live there?
I think I'm going to live at our compound.
or it's so
Yeah, I'm going to, how about this?
he'll live with the
I'm
compound.
going to do whatever the fuck Dakota tells me to do. You know what I mean? Like that's
all
what I'm going to do.
It's all about the beatings it'll take every day. But I do think he plans to spend a lot of time with you during the day.
Yeah.
So you're going to spend a lot of time over there. But I think he'll probably sleep at the compound with the rest of us. So
Will there be a tent involved in the backyard?
there's going to be some trust falls.
I'm really hoping not,
I mean,
but
will there be a tent
Hey,
out there in the
there
backyard?
will be now. And none of that. But we're going to set your tent
Love you,
up
Jesse.
in his, the people don't know this, Dakota raises and breeds kangaroos.
Oh, yeah.
So when you go to his property, he's
bro,
got
I could go viral.
those kangaroos will jack you up.
Oh.
Hey, here's what will happen. We'll be out there. We'll let one of the kangaroos get Kirk.
No chance.
And then I'll go
He'll
out
jack
there
you
like
up.
that dude from Australia, you know,
Like
that
Shane Gillis
dude,
talks
he
about
just
it.
walked out there and fucking squared up with this
Rocked
kangaroo,
him.
rocked him, kangaroo, let's go the dog, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'd do for you.
Shane
in
Gillis
peace,
just
Steve.
talked about it on his Netflix special. I laughed until I hurt watching
Oh,
that.
100%.
All right. So the genesis of this podcast was to tell some crazy stories.
However, let's disclaim this. We are not going to hurt kangaroos.
No,
Overwatch is
No.
not going to hurt kangaroos.
That's true.
Okay.
Can we get a rest in peace, Steve, too? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that guy passed away, right?
Steve.
I don't know. Let's
It-
hear it.
Who's,
Steve Irwin?
yeah,
The
kangaroo.
No, I'm pretty sure he was Australian.
Oh, was he
He-
crocodile?
Oh, you're
Listen.
talking about Crocodile Dundee?
Miss
No.
Minnesota.
No, no,
You're
no,
talking
no,
No,
about-
the
Steve Irwin, the
Australian
stingray
dude with the
dude.
Yes, the
kangaroos.
The stingray
you
dude.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that dude's dead.
The stingray got him.
The stingray got him.
Yeah.
I just want to give a little
I
homie like
don't-
shout out, rest in peace.
Hey, R.I.P.
You know?
We're not drinking, but I would be pouring something out for him right now on this carpet.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Easily one of the baddest humans that ever lived. You know what I mean?
he had a cool
Could you
job.
imagine just being like, "Oi, look at his
Oi!
fucking crocodile! I'm just gonna hop on his back and wrestle him down."
He's beautiful.
what I mean?
He always thought the most dangerous thing on earth. It's so beautiful.
I would never do that. I'd be like, "Oh man, that's crazy."
So who what was your craziest story yet? Because you haven't been to a DCAC yet. You did the beer pong tournament. What are your guys'?
Listen, I don't have any data center crazy stories yet.
You'll get
Yet.
some.
So I will
Next
get
week.
some. I mean, I have a ton of previous life stories that unfortunately I'm usually the
Legally bound not to talk about.
the antagonizer of those stories. I
protagonist.
mean, the protagonist. Yeah. So
I got you.
I probably can't share half of those stories. I guess maybe I could.
We'll
but
just edit them out.
all right. So so I am in strategy. So I don't listen. At the end of the day, the strategist does not challenge the norm and change it. One augments the norm to enhance it to be better because we're looking at it from a different lens. So with that said, my company decided that there's a bunch of us that have traveled our entire careers, and they decided that they would have us save money by rooming with another traveling executive and so I've known this guy, Freddie, for 15 years, and I drew him. And I knew some things about Freddie. First of all, the minute I heard I had to live with another man for 5 days, I said, fuck that. So I immediately started to...
A former Army guy
I
that's
started
lived with
to
hundreds of men
process-
in the field for months.
I started to process the things I know about Freddie, and he's a germaphobe, and he's really weird, and things have to be perfect, or he gets all out of sorts. So I decided it was at a retreat center in New Mexico. I decided to get there a little bit early and stage the room a little bit. Now, we had a choice to pay for our own room, but I wasn't going to pay on a company trip for my own room. So I had to make it, I had to entice Freddie enough for him to pay for it out of pocket. So I got to the room, I put on, this is back in the day before Pornhub, where you just put on the TV the $39.99 for 24 hours of porn that just ran on a loop.
Sure.
Which all of my salespeople tried to expense, but I'm like, this isn't Goonies, dude. When it's $39.99, we know exactly what you were renting, okay? Because Goonies is $12.99, all right? So I knew that right off the bat because they always said, title not there. Come on. So I ordered the movie, put it on, got behind the bed, but before I got in the bed, this was, early 2000s when I don't think men grooming was as popular as it is today. So we had a little bit of a region. We had a little bit of a region area. So what I did was pulled a handful off and sprinkled it on the bar of soap. So Freddie comes. So
Hey, you got your room to yourself.
So Freddie comes in the room, and he took it with the key, and I'm under the blankets, and he comes in, and I turn up the volume real fast. He goes, dude, what the heck? And I go, all right, sorry. And I knew he has to go get washed up because he just got on.
Were you playing the $39.99?
I was playing the 39. Freddie gets up, walks immediately to the bathroom, opens up the curtain, sees the hair on the soap, and turns around, walks out with his bag, and got his own room. And that's what you call strategy.
And that's why we hired him as our chief.
There you go. That was my interview. They go, Joseph, how are you going to apply strategy to your career here? And I gave Kirk that story, and he said, done.
He's all about a keto strategy. Like, you take their momentum and you use it against them.
Hey, you want to hear the worst hotel story ever?
I have one.
Hey.
Mine's good. Mine's an industry conference one. Go ahead.
Mine is not. Mine was standard work one, and it was.
Can you share your vasectomy story with us at the end of this podcast?
Don't want to see that picture.
I don't know if you guys. I don't know if you guys are ready for that. I don't know if that's ready for the world. You know what I mean?
It is, dude. Can you imagine going and getting such an incredibly important and sensitive procedure done at the DMV?
Hey, I have a public service.
I'm sorry, the VA. You went to the VA to get
never go to the VA for a vasectomy. Hey. Just don't do it.
That'll be episode 12.
It'll be worth every penny you ever spend. But anyways, so there was a point in time when we were at a line that we had to like travel all over the place, right? Like multiple cities in one week and stuff like that. And one time I had to do that and go out to Phoenix. Well, because it was an unplanned trip, I didn't have a planned booked hotel room. It was during, like, I don't know if it was the Waste Management Open or what, but if you ever been out there, you can't get anything. Nothing, right? I had to stay at the La Quinta Inn.
Oh, not the La Quinta. 'Cause
Hey,
that's where
listen.
everyone can have their animals.
I got to tell you something.
Uh-uh.
There were no animals here. Well, there might have been, but it was what's that area there up north of Phoenix, kind of where
Cave Creek or something?
no, like close to where we were,
Mexico
like is it Happy Valley or
Sure. Oh, Paradise Valley?
I don't remember what it was, but anyways, I'm at this La Quinta. Okay. I get into the room, and when I tell you that there is a fluid stain, just
It's dog piss. I'm telling you, everyone's animals can go to La Quinta.
well,
Oof. I'm not staying there.
there were murderers there.
Oh.
I'm convinced there were murderers there. There were other illegal activities there. I literally immediately called an Uber, and I went to Walmart and I bought towels, and I came back and I laid towels down on the bed. I slept on that bed fully clothed, woke up in the morning, put on new work clothes, went to work, and then I flew out that night.
To their defense, it's hard to get those chalk outlines for the dead bodies out of the carpet.
Listen,
So they just, over time, they hope it just fades away.
And you didn't leave any of your own, and your DNA wasn't left there anywhere? There's a collection?
not a chance.
They're like, hey, sir, we're going to need to have a fecal sample
Not
and a
a
urine sample and a semen sample and a urine sample. And he's like, here's my underwear. Will this do?
You
Right.
remember the A-loft room that
In Phoenix?
looked
There was
like
definitely a murder there.
100%?
Splatter marks on
Listen,
the wall.
somebody was murdered in this room, no doubt. Blood splattered just like up the wall and on the ceiling and stuff.
So let me give you a different story. Let me shift gears on this. So this is years ago. There was a trade show, a industry conference. It was the first year, and it was in Atlanta.
Mhm.
And I don't remember the name of it, but day 2, I was going to speak at it. And Alexis Stobie, you know Stubby, former Hornet pilot, Marine Corps Super Hornet pilot, I think. And he's at Jacobs now, but he was at PDI at the time. And we were landing in Atlanta, and he was coming in around the same time as me. And he's like, hey, man, I'll just get us a car and we'll ride together to the hotel. And everyone else showed up early morning because day 1 of the conference had people were there the night before during that day. And I wasn't speaking until day 2. So I'm like, I'll just show up at 4 or 5 in the afternoon and miss the first day. And I'll rock out with everyone, that night, and then speak the next day and fly out. And Stubby and I meet at the airport. We ride, no problem. Get to the hotel. You walk in, and the hotel is like a nice Marriott or wherever they're hosting this conference at. And there is, the whole lobby's full, and half of it seems to be like hipsters. They got like the younger versions. They're dressed a little bit more hipster, and they have like, watch caps on, barely covering their head, but just the whole, what you think when you're up in Silicon Valley type of thing. And then there was those people that were more like our industry type of people. Right. And it's just a huge ocean of people in these lobbies, and you just don't know any better. So I navigated through it all and went to the front, and I was like, hey, I'm checking in. My name's Kirk. And they're like, no problem. They give me a set of rooms. I'm like, they give me some keys, and like, this is your room. And I was like, do you not need a card or, my ID? Are you sure it's me? Like, no, we're good. It's like, we've had some IT issues today, so you're good to go. So, I landed at 4. By 5, I get in my keys, and I'm going to my room, and like, the experience could not have been better. But there are people like zombies laying throughout the lobby that are plugged into every little outlet like it's the airport, trying to get power for their computer or their phones, because evidently the entire hotel went down on an IT basis and they couldn't check anyone into hotel rooms. I happened to show up right when it was beginning to turn back on, and I had no idea. And I was oblivious to this whole problem that existed throughout the entire day. So all these people were very angry and frustrated. And I walk in, here's my keys, and I'm in the elevator, and people were complaining, like, how long did it take you? I'm like, dude, I had to wait almost 5 minutes from the time that I got dropped off and had to get my keys. It's unbearable. You'll have no idea what I've had to do.
VIP, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And people are just livid. So I go up to my room. Room's perfect. It's got 2 beds. And, I put my shit down on one bed and drop my stuff. And Stubby's like, let's go grab a drink before we hit dinner. Let's roll. So we go, and we're at this dinner, and I get a phone call from the hotel. And I came, Mr. Rolfo, we just want to make sure you had no problems, with your room. I was like, everything couldn't have gone any smoother. And like, well, we had some problems today. But I did hear a lot of bitching and moaning and whining on the way up. You know, people were mad because, a lot of BMW.
It was really a damper on my trip having to listen to all these negative people.
I think Jesus just loves me more than them. I don't know what it is. People just, I'm a
You're
good
one
person.
of the 144, dude.
I'm there. So I definitely not 144, but I think that I just got really lucky. So we're at dinner. They called me and make sure I was okay. And then later on we were out. It's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And they call me again. They're like, we wanted to make sure still you've had no problems with your room. And I was like, now I'm worried.
Yeah.
So I go to my room and my room key doesn't work. So I'm like, fuck. So I go down and, I explain the situation. They give me some new room keys and I'm up to my new room. And I go to my room and I walk in and there's a dude sitting on the other bed in his underwear. And he's in his panties and he's chilling. He's smoking a joint. He's got a bottle of Maker's Mark and the nightstand between the two beds. And I get up and I walk in and I'm like, I responded how would you respond to walking into your room where your bags are on a bed and there's another dude in his panties sitting on the bed next to you. And not only does he get up, not in surprise that you arrived, but to give you a hug. He's like, dude, we're roomies. And I was like, and I had, turns out that when I was at dinner, I found that they had a full bar, right? So I was pretty deep into the paint by the time it's midnight and I'm showing up at this hotel and I'm disheveled and I'm drunk. And I have some dude in his panties that's trying to give me a hug because we're boys. And I was like, bro, get the fuck away from me. I'm like, what are you doing in my room? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, they just randomly paired us up. He goes, which department are you with? Or are you not allowed to say? And I was like, what department are you with? And he goes, I'm not allowed to say, but this is who I'm with. And I realized which technology company was there. And it was one of the larger IT companies that are a member of FAMGA. And they were doing an offsite with a bunch of their team to celebrate the announcement of some technology that they've hit a milestone on. And you knew it was crazy because you had, this hundreds of people in this little ballroom all celebrating and getting their bonuses and stuff. But he was obviously a part of that group. He wasn't there at the hotel as a part of our group for the data center conference. So
You're like, there's been a terrible mistake.
he just started talking
second,
like,
so-
I'm like, it could go either way, I feel like.
he staged this differently. He actually created an environment to welcome him.
yes.
Mhm.
He had the
Where-
Maker's Mark and the weed. He had
Mhm.
like,
We're here to celebrate.
yeah, he's like, because he's like, we're all getting our bonuses. We all did it. We're all here. And I was like, we're not. And you're not either. You got to pack up your shit, get the fuck out. It was only a couple of days. Like, I think I asked you this question, but I travel a lot. I'm hotels 40 weeks a year probably. And I don't know if I've ever moved in to the hotel, like where you've done it because you're a psycho. I mean,
Only
let me ask a girl, have you ever got to the hotel and unpacked?
4 days.
Well, you bring like a whole container.
You know what?
Shipping
You can't
contain-
touch my suitcase and be a gentleman if you're going to bitch about how much it weighs. Otherwise, I got it.
I
So I don't want any help.
I'm not bitching.
But yeah,
I'm
I
admiring.
got shoes, I got hair, I got seasons.
You're ready for a month.
I got to be planned.
I get it.
So, yeah.
I can fit a week and a half in a backpack.
Yeah, I got you. So,
3, I think 4 days.
he moved in
3
to
or
the
4 days is the if you're there for more than 4,
Never.
you wanna put
Never.
it into a drawer.
My clothes
I'll
will
hang up
never touch those drawers ever.
never. No, I don't know what's been in those drawers. My shit will hang on a hanger.
hanger.
That's
hanger,
the best
yeah.
I got, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like, I don't move into those hotel rooms when I'm there. I'm only there for the minimum amount I have to be there. Well, that guy checked out and he moved everything in. So not only is he drunk and high, but I obviously startled him and I'm as subtle as a sack of bananas, right? So like, I'm like, hey man, let's get it rolling. Let's get it moving. Let's pack this shit up. You got to get the fuck out of my room. And he didn't know what to do. So he's packing his stuff, trying to get clothes, like trying to put clothes on. And he finally looks at me. He's like, hey man, can we just smoke this joint? Because this is really awkward right now. Will you sit down with me? And I don't want this negative energy you're putting at me. And I was like, well, I'm sorry. I'm like, but I'm a little bit surprised to show up and see some dude in his panties on the bed next to me. I said, I'm just not used to that. And that was the topic of the conversation the next morning when I was speaking. It's people like, how was your night last night? And I was like, it was awesome. And I explained to people, there's a lot more color that went to that evening because he had went to, I guess in Atlanta, there's an institutional gentleman's club there that you go to where all the people that work there have to be over the age of 55 or something. And he and his party went to do that all night. So he came back and he was trying to tell me these stories. I'm like, bro, I ain't got time for your stories either. I'm like, this is the craziest travel story I had to that point, where I walk in my room and there's a dude there who's ready to give me a hug because we're in the same department and we're all getting our bonuses. And I was like, no, man, I'm not part of your tribe. But
I gotta be honest with you. Must have been a big bonus. You know what I mean? To just be in your undies, smoking a joint,
With a
killing
bottle of
some
Maker's
Jack
Mark.
or your Makers.
he's trying to get me to de-escalate my friction with him. So he's like, dude, have a hit of this. Or, dude, there's a whole bottle of Maker's Mark there. We could finish the whole thing. And I was like, we're
I'm
not
surprised he
finishing
wasn't
anything.
like, hey, you should come work here, bro.
No.
Be a lot more relaxed.
Hey, look, that was not the craziest story I've had in this industry, but that's one of my crazy travel stories. And that's why I wanted to have this podcast, is that I know that you guys have all had crazy stories from industry. Or how many trade shows have you been to? Enough? I mean, how about this? How many from
Not
our
in the
industry?
data center industry.
But you've been to like 7x24 chapters because like,
I've been 7 AFCOM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so you've been around and you see the shit show that happens to these things.
But the thing I'm the most looking forward to is Salmi and I have agreed to bunk up
At DCAC.
intentionally at DCAC. And she and I are going to be roomies at
Having each other's
DCAC.
backs.
Oh my God. She's my ride or die. Like,
She's awesome.
love her. So that's going to be a fun hotel experience with
She
that
was there
South
last year.
African. Like, she's
She's a pistol.
I got a crazy story.
Let's hear it.
You remember when I got attacked at DCAC?
I
When you
heard
got your ass
different.
kicked?
Bro, come
When that guy
on.
jacked you up. I remember that. Remember that, Joe?
What'd you get attacked for?
He's
What
just, I mean, listen, if you don't know anything about Jesse yet, he's basically Captain Jello. Like his job, I feel, is to let people walk all over him for a living sometimes. You know, you ever get that sense when you deal with him?
I learned from the best.
That's not true.
Hey,
But
no,
there was
so-
there was an incident a couple years ago at DCAC, and he had a body slam a guy. What happened?
So we're at PCE was having the happy hour.
The Alchemist or something like that.
Yes. the
There's like a
Gypsy
fancy bar.
Alchemist. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Where you take the escalator up to the top and there's a bar up there. But so anyways, we're in there and I really wasn't doing anything. But where this got really, really messed up is Skylar had just started. And so Skylar's there.
Do you guys know who? Have you met Skylar yet?
Yeah.
Have you guys met?
I haven't met Skylar.
Who's
yet.
Skylar?
So Skylar is he was my
Jesse's future
squad
replacement.
leader. Yeah, he was my squad leader in Afghanistan. And you know, the whole time I was in the army for the most part. And then now he works for us and he's a PM at one of our clients, Vantage, and
He's a savage. He'll be on the leadership team one day. He's definitely going to be a team leader probably, but he'll definitely
yeah.
get on. He's designed to lead. He's an amazing person, and he's crushed it for us at that account.
I don't think he understands how handsome he really is.
Silver Fox, dude.
Dude,
Yeah,
Salt and
he's a
pepper.
handsome guy, and I don't think
He's
he
only
really
27 years old.
he
looks like
believes
he's
it.
97 years old.
I
He's
think
not-
we need to encourage him.
He's my
He's kind of he has that
He looks
What
like
is-
he's my age.
yeah, he has that Ocean's 11 guy look. What's that guy's name? The
George Clooney?
Yeah, a little George Clooney
Yeah, he's too
feel.
good looking. You have to hate him.
Yeah,
I hate
yeah.
I hate Skylar.
I hate him.
He
for
shouldn't
that.
be that smart, and he shouldn't be that good looking.
No.
Maybe he's compensating for something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maggio, on the other hand, not so handsome. I mean, he's a handsome guy.
Well, he's
but-
Italian. What are you going to do?
But you know, he's looks like he should be.
He's another squad guy from you, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we've hired a couple of dudes that were bullet sponges with him in the army, and they've been crushing it for us. But he came to an event. We were doing the
Well,
Alchemist.
we were at
But someone was bumping into women and being rude, and you weren't having it, I thought.
No, that's not what happened. Some dude who thought that like I was dancing with these girls or whatever.
You're easy to confuse.
I know. Comes up to me, doesn't say a word, dude. Just straight grabs me up by my shirt, starts walking me backwards, and he says, "You're out of here." And I'm thinking to myself, like, bitch, this is my party. Like, who is this dude? And then it took about 4 seconds for me to like change direction after I grabbed his throat. And we're like running down the side of the bar window. And then all of a sudden, because Skylar and Jose was there, and like, I mean, everybody from DCAC was there. So this dude literally grabbed me at our party with 70
I can
people.
tell you
There
what
was
happened.
like
Who was this guy?
30 people were
Who
on
was
this
this guy?
dude in
Watch.
a second.
I hear a bunch of noise, and Laramie is a buddy of mine, kind of gives me an elbow and goes, "Hey, you got to check this out. It's funny. Watch these guys." And I look over just in time to watch Jesse pick the guy up by the throat and then slam him down on the ground right on on his back. And I was like, he must have really made Jesse mad for that to happen. But I didn't realize what was going on until I saw it was Jesse that was body slamming this guy. And then the staff came in and they ripped him. They kicked him out.
Oh,
They're like, "You got to go."
hey, he was carried out by his arms and legs laying flat looking at the ground.
And I was like, I don't think he understood which party we were
Yeah.
at. But
Clearly not.
Skylar literally, as I'm on top of this dude, comes up behind me, bear hugs me, lifts me into the air and just like carries
Walks you
me
out.
away. And he's like, hey, you gotta calm down. And I'm like, bro, it's fine. And then
no, that's what we need Skylar's.
I know.
Skylar's a stud. He's
But
new to the industry, but
that's a
he's
crazy
impressive.
So do we know the
That's a
guy?
crazy-
I mean, who's the
Nope.
guy?
No idea.
Oh,
I don't think he was
just
with the
a-
industry. I think
Oh,
He was wearing a purple tuxedo.
he just saw
No, he was
Jesse and
not.
said,
Hand to
"This
God.
guy needs to be punched in the face."
Hand to God, purple tuxedo.
Is that for real?
was it a Saturday? Was he at a wedding?
No, it was.
No, it was like
at
a
our
Tuesday night.
party. Yeah.
See, I heard that story, but I heard that he touched someone's like udders or ovaries, and you were like, absolutely not. Like
that was a different time.
Yeah, Jesse had to knock
the
someone in the
brotherhood of supporting women in this industry is something that I love about all of this team. So that's what I heard. And all the women on the team are like, these are your brothers. He will support you no matter what. So then I was like, yeah, okay, that's pretty sick.
We got your
That
back.
was a different DCAC, but yeah, that happened too.
I'll tell you, like, this industry has some of the coolest conferences. And those conferences used to have a really, really important and critical element that involved educating the industry, right? Where there would be things that were being announced for the first time to be innovative, right? Things that we would go to and it was meant and originally designed, I think, to advance the whole industry, right? But what happened is these conferences started taking themselves way too fucking serious. And they would start like governing like what your title is. Oh, you can't come because your title is this, or they would and it just eroded the whole thing. So finally it became a joke. We started our own conference. But it wasn't before we would go to the other conferences and just hijack them. Like I remember one time when AFCOM was in Vegas, which was the greatest thing. Thank God they don't do it there anymore because I don't think I could. Like I'm allergic to Vegas, right? I will break out in handcuffs if I'm there for more than 30 hours, right? So I'm not designed to be in, like, it got to the point where I would fly into that and I would never even rent a hotel room. I would just, when my shame was done, I would get on a plane in whatever outfit I had landed in and I'd fly back home. And I was like, that conference is good for a year. I'll see it next year, you know? And that's the only time I'd go to Vegas. But we had some amazing times. There was a good buddy of mine and I that he rented Yellowtail at the Bellagio, a private room for AFCOM so we could have a nice VIP sushi night. And it turned into a huge food fight because they put Pop Rocks in the sushi and I loved it and he hated it. So he sent it all back and I ordered a whole bunch more. So he went and you could probably guess who this person is, but he went and he grabbed every sushi roll that had Pop Rocks in it and wadded it up like a softball, one big white sushi ball. And then maybe I dared him, but I didn't think he would do it, but he threw it at my face. And from that point forward, I was flipping tables at the Bellagio. We were fucking food fighting. And I remember as they're kicking us out, the waitress comes running over and she's like, I need one of you guys to sign this. And it was the tab. And it wasn't my credit card on file. So I had to sign the tab. But I remember that lady got a $4,000 tip or some shit. I don't know whose card was down, but it wasn't mine. But I was like,
So I think
They earned
you guys have set not a dangerous, but an interesting, again, these are all unplanned, I don't think they're planned, unattended business consequences to creating greatness because I'm not sure you won't even know this story. So we have an employee, David Isaac, who is dual citizenship, United States, I believe, but definitely North Korea. Didn't know they issued
No.
those.
hey, he is until he's not. He's a terrorist until he's not.
He is not from ISIS. That is not true.
I definitely saw him with
Nope,
Captain. I
I
saw him
love
with
me
Captain
some
Ron.
David.
He's a Somali pirate at the
Look,
very
he's
minimum.
guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
I still don't know what he
So
is.
David got a call. So David was pursuing. So I'm not going to names and titles omitted. David got this week or last week. David was calling someone who owns a conference that just so happened to be in Austin.
hosting a conference this week.
hosting a conference this week where we
Suckers.
hijacked it slightly in the sense of throwing a very highly successful cornhole tournament, which my team came in third. Only
Never,
get to bed.
ever have Kirk be your partner. Ever.
For the record and in my defense, I did tell you the same thing. I'm like, you don't want me on your cornhole.
But right now it's fun because you select your partners. My fear is 2 or 3 years, we're going to have to handicap this thing because we're going to get guys with like that actually have names
Did you
and
see,
are
like,
known in the industry because that was a pretty good cornhole. People will come.
Curtis of IDCA knew how to throw a cornhole
Oh, yeah.
bag. Aaron Johnson of Sunbelt,
Oh, yeah.
not his first time throwing a
Yeah.
cornhole bag either.
There was some
They were coming to win.
there's some backyard sport enthusiasts out there that came to this event. But we got a call. David was asking, "Hey, can we get some tickets to come to the conference?" And they were like, "Nope,
We'll swap.
you're a competitor. We're not giving you anything." And then he didn't know we were throwing at that point. This was previous to the event. He didn't know we were throwing this cornhole tournament. And we got a call yesterday by the owner of that conference saying, I think we should talk about partnering up or figuring out something
'Cause
moving
I heard
forward.
I heard they had to cut their conference down by a day. I heard
Yeah.
they had to reduce it. And if you look at it, I mean, they had a great lineup of speakers. All of those people have spoken at DCAC before,
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, they're on the right path. They're just way behind,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, I love it. I love it when every other person comes into Austin to host their data center conference because we love rivalries. I mean, I don't have any problem with. I love those conferences. Every one of those. I've been to every conference you can imagine. I mean, like at PTC last year, and we're doing it again this year. We have Scuba Steve of Trident Adventures, and if you've never been to Hawaii, you have to go.
You just said Scuba Steve, and
Well, Steve is a Navy SEAL that hosts.
does he have his own doll?
He does have bobbleheads. I'm sure of it. When you meet this guy, you'll see that he's everything that you expect when I say Scuba Steve. But he's a former Navy SEAL, very, 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 very into safety. But he took us out at PTC last year. I mean, I had a deal of compass. I mean, we had a great group of people. Adam Sharp of Yonder. I don't remember, but we had a dozen of us out there, and we were just seeing who can go up higher in the helicopter to figure out before they dumped us out. And then we were scuba diving all day. And we'll do that at PTC again this year. In fact, I locked down Scuba Steve for 2 straight days where we'll go out and jump out of helicopters and scuba dive all day. And then that night, he's going to let some of us jump out with spear guns. So we're going to go fishing. And he's going to do a bonfire and cook us fresh fish that we catch. And we're going to do that at PTC this year. And last year,
for sure be doing that.
well, this
And
dumbass
at the bonfire,
PTC
we actually did just contract Ralph Macchio to kick a soccer ball around a little bit.
What?
So to reenact
Kung Fu.
Cool Summer from Karate Kid. So we go all out. So we will have Ralph Macchio.
Now Jesse totally wimped out last year, and instead of jumping out of the helicopter like a combat infantry army guy that he was,
I can guarantee you he takes that 30-day challenge. So it's,
you
listen,
think he'll jump out of a helicopter?
well, because it has nothing to do with listen, here's the fear is when we're shaped differently than like when you go in and you just right in where we have a little bit more of a resistance. When we go in, if we don't go,
Things
listen,
get like shifted up.
there's
you
going to
know?
be a shifting. There's going to be a correction in areas
Dude,
that
it's
you
called kale. Start eating it now before Hawaii.
Yeah,
You guys ain't got no.
That's disgusting.
Oh, I don't need cat.
Mm-mm.
But listen, you were racing Ferraris and destroying. I think that by the time you were done destroying windshields on Ferraris,
They were Lamborghinis.
whatever. But
How much is a Lamborghini windshield?
$11,000.
Is that a true story, or did we get
True
whacked?
story. True story.
Thanks,
$11,000. But shout out American Express Insurance. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Rent your
well,
car
well,
on
yeah.
American Express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they
However,
fought it
not
for
to
you?
get political, that windshield during Trump was only $3,000. Now it's $11,000 under Biden. It's unbelievable.
Hey, honestly,
Spoken. I love
this
it.
this windshield gets cracked, and I'm going back, and in my mind, I'm like, I'll be able to explain the same like $4,000. Like it's not gonna be that big of a deal. It'll be fine. You know what I mean? No big deal.
Yeah, the CFO won't mind.
Yeah, you know, like, well, hang on.
The
He'll
Godfather.
mind. He'll mind, but you know, I'll be like, it was the sides, you know what I mean? Like,
From remember Wolf of Wall Street?
but
Yeah, the TNA, not T&E, the TNA expenses.
yeah. But anyways,
What do you? It serves cancer. It's cancer those things.
Yeah,
The
the
dad?
sides.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
dad.
the dad.
yeah, that's Sam. But then they call me and they're like, all right, we got the total. It'll be 11,000 something. In my mind, I'm like,
Fired.
what the
You are
fuck?
fired.
I called Sam. I was like, hey, I promise it'll be worth it.
I heard it started like this. Don't tell Kirk.
It probably did. Probably did.
Sam's like, hey, Jesse's a little bit worried about shit. I'm like, he better go do something from this, but the beauty about the industry is, I mean, we were out, we do the ones in Vegas. We were out racing Lamborghinis and Ferraris and doing laps in those, or, getting Humvees to take us to go, shoot 50 cows in the desert. And, I mean, like, you got to do something at these events. It's got to be disruptive. That's why when other events show up to town, we love it, right? Because then it gives us another excuse to go guerrilla warfare on them, like the beer pong tournament that we did for AFCOM, and now we just did a cornhole tournament. Every year that there's a person, if there's a conference coming to Austin and they're going to host, we welcome it, because then we're going to go see if we could take over by hosting something that's...
Yeah, we had 350 people at that
beer pong. I don't know how many people had registered for
that. Was
cornhole.
ridiculous. We had over 100.
Pickleball. I mean, I don't mean to be bougie or whatever, but like,
that's a Minnesota thing.
This is me planting the seed right now. Seeds planted.
Human ping pong is not a sport. It's
You just haven't gotten on the bandwagon yet.
Then we got to wear different outfits. It's a whole thing.
You know what
then
I think we got to do?
Talk
I'd
properly.
be behind darts.
Texas Hold'em tournament. Buy in, all money is donated to a charity.
We definitely could do that.
But we could get some sponsors to throw in some bomb-ass like
100%.
things, so that
100%.
it's not in violation of anything. There's no real gambling, but we could do it to raise money for like an honor flight or something like that. Maybe raise 5-10 grand, send someone to go out to DC and do an honor flight or something. But we have to continue to try to hijack these things. And if those places, those were all the companies that originally were going to be, I mean, we were talking to multiple companies about selling Data Center Live, right? DCAC Live. But I think the conferences themselves they started by trying to offer innovation and education. And they turned into a shit show because people took them too serious, and they became just things that people like us would show up to. And there's so many people I see at these conferences that don't ever register. Not just because the conferences are way overpriced, but there's no point when you're really just going to get really good quality time with people at the VIP events that are off-site, right? So we started hosting, our conference has all the VIP shit on-site, because I knew that people are going to take shit off-site, and I just had to compete against all those people like me that were looking to hijack conferences and try to make it to where it was too much fun inside the conference itself.
That was the first thing coming in, going to these conferences. That's what everyone said. You don't buy a ticket. You're going to go to that one. You're going to go to that one. You're going to go to this one. Like, nah.
Well, we had to reduce we didn't reduce, but we intentionally, deliberately, still to this day, have the cheapest ticket, because you can't get into the fun unless you have one, but it's affordable to where anybody could go. And we don't give a shit about your title. And the beauty is you'll still get the most powerful people in this industry that are going to be there. If they're not on stage, they're in attendance and they're in orbit, which means if you want to run into like a Joe Cava of Google, or one of the people at Cyrus One or Vantage or whoever, Alfonso Portillo of Google will be here this year, right? And there's going to be some people that people will wait days and months to get in front of that'll be there. And it's worth just showing up, because you'll run into them at the barbecue line, or you'll run into them at the coffee line, or the food truck line, or at the massage line, or the haircut line, or the IV drip line, or, this isn't...
Don't forget the shave.
Straight shave. I think we do blowouts for women, right? But these conferences turned into just huge networking events, right? And the networking really came from the partying. And it turns out I took third in state in 8th grade in partying, so I was pretty good at what I was doing, right?
I was like, it's cool. It turns out it's cool to pee your pants.
Well, I'm Miles Davis then, right? So
you're hanging out with Scuba Steve. I'm sorry. I'm just like picturing all of you guys over there.
Scuba Steve, if you've not seen him, he's a riot. And we're going to PTC for sure. We're taking at least our leadership team out there this year, and everybody will be jumping out of a helicopter. You going to jump out of a helicopter this year?
I am. Sam, I think, is going to.
I may not let him. He may need to sign like a medical waiver. I want to make sure he's too important.
Can't have no hits.
We can't have our CFO. I could lose one of you guys because, let's be honest. What do you guys even do sometimes? But you can't. I'm joking. But I'm not putting the CFO on. He's not allowed to. He needs to be in a bubble. He needs to be protected. So we can't lose the money guy right now. He's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
But this industry allows us to have a lot of fun. And I think that there's a lot of amazing opportunities to establish real meaningful relationships with people. And sometimes you do that instead of standing in a booth, handing them a free pen. You get that when you're standing in some backyard event, like you would be at home on the weekend, and you're just having a bowl of loudmouth soup and talking stories about each other's kids, that play soccer that weekend, or like you have to. This industry is awesome because it doesn't require you to go to a specific school to be well. It doesn't require you to have a certain alphabet soup behind your name to be well. You just have to be a good person, and if you do that, then most people lean in pretty hard, right? And I think that if you're willing to just kind of go with the nuances of an emerging industry that's still in its infancy, you'll see like it's the Wild Wild West over here. Like how many other, you came from fintech, you came from high tech, you worked for big box institutional companies. I doubt that you guys were hosting conferences that are intentionally doing things that our industry puts on all the time.
The most excitement is how much swag or tchotchkes we can actually get
without
and
getting
be like,
sued.
oh my God.
Oh, you want the pins?
This is a screen cleaner. I got to get that. Let's go over to that booth. I mean, it's terrible.
Oh,
Meanwhile, the marketing that he's doing and putting out with his team is sick. Like everyone, and even if you're not in the data center industry, you see what you're putting out right now. Everyone's like, I want one of those shirts.
What people don't understand is like, I'll get phone calls like, Kirk, your guys' marketing's off the hook. What they don't realize, that's all Joseph. Joseph manages all of our branding, our marketing, and our media, right? So this omnipresence that he's created, even with the things that he's pushing us on this stuff, has allowed us to create that omnipresence to where we can hopefully control the way we're perceived in the market, but we could help others that are either inside this industry or maybe on the outside considering maybe coming in. If they're not inspired by like the Dean Nelsons and the Alfonso Portillos or the Chris Crosbys, they need to be fulfilled by joy by what they're doing, right? And joy comes from what you would get away with. Like, let's be honest, most people come to DCAC, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the fact that their company is going to pay for them to go to Austin, Texas for a couple days for free, and it'll have some of the best networking that this industry has to offer. And that leads to some of the best stories that this industry has to offer. So you'll see over the course of time, I'll patch together like Jamie Morasabi or, Aaron of Sunbelt or JT of Rosedin or people that have been low crawling through this industry with me for years and have the scars to show it. And we'll tell stories about things that sound really stupid, but they're the fun things that inspire younger people to try to come into this industry because we need the younger generation to come in and inject all that creativity and that versatility that they bring, being so enlightened and advanced in the way that they adapt or use emerging technology to just the things that they see that are very simplified versus the way that we were conditioned and raised. Yeah. Different set of propaganda altogether than the way that we were raised. Do you agree?
Yeah. And those other two industries that you mentioned, what's interesting is they look for perfection before they launch. So and
we don't know nothing about
don't know anything about that. We just launch and we try to find perfection.
Ready, fire, then aim.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for that.